Hello, my name is Morgan O'Neill, and I am a 2015 MBA graduate of the Wisconsin School of Business. Today on the MBA and MS podcast and webinar, we're going to talk about the Strategic Human Resource Management specialization of the full-time MBA program. And I'm going to visit with Trevor. Charlie is the academic director of the Strategic HR MBA program. So welcome, Charlie.
Thanks, Morgan. It's really great to talk to you today about our program. And so let's jump right in. Would you be able to tell the folks about your career, both before you went for the Wisconsin MBA and then afterwards?
Yeah, so my career path before my MBA and then post MBA are actually quite different. I think, what some people would call a career switcher, or a career changer. Prior to the MBA program, I was in education and nonprofits. So I did multiple AmeriCorps programs. If you're familiar with AmeriCorps, you can think of it like the domestic Peace Corps. And I also worked for a Chicago-based literacy nonprofit called Working in the Schools for 5 years. So really, my career pre-MBA revolved around the nonprofit sector. I decided to make a career change and go to get my MBA, right, as I mentioned. And ultimately, that was to move into the human resource field, right? So I joined GE Healthcare in their rotational HR program. I was really lucky enough to do an internship with GE Healthcare between my first and my second year of my MBA. Ultimately, I joined them in their HR leadership program. So I did multiple rotations and multiple different types of HR roles, both client support, what you would call HR generalist work, as well as specialist work. And today I'm the global HR leader for one of the business units for GE Healthcare, the Women's Health and X-ray business unit globally.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. Anything about the MBA experience itself in terms of highlights that you'd like to share?
Yeah, I mean, there's probably too many to rattle off. So maybe I'll just highlight a few here. One of them I already touched on. And that first was definitely the internship experience between, my first and my second year of my MBA. And that was something that UW played a very critical role in facilitating, right? Because UW had and has a very strong relationship with General Electric. So the internship for me was really crucial, for sure, of course, in setting up myself for success and ultimately in securing a full-time offer with GE Healthcare. And not only securing an offer, but just giving me, invaluable kind of hands-on experience in the HR space, which was something I hadn't had, right? Because I was really in the nonprofit education sector prior to that. And then secondly, I would just highlight there were many student organizations and groups that were tied with the MBA program, are tied with the MBA program. And for me, I was heavily involved in the LGBT MBA Student Association. So that gave me both leadership experience as well as, allowed me to participate in something that I was very passionate about. And then lastly, maybe the third thing I would highlight is I did go on the international trip. I believe it was during my second year, which was to Santiago, Chile. And ironically, I actually worked on a project for GE down in Chile, which was ultimately, obviously, the company I joined.
Oh, that's great. Super.
So great. Let's shift gears a little bit. At the heart of the MBA experience is the faculty and the curriculum, of course. Can you tell people how the curriculum prepares them for future careers?
Absolutely, I'd love to, but I was really interested in your answer to the last question, because I'm going to circle back to a couple of those highlights that you mentioned as things that we'd really like to encourage potential candidates for our program to think about. In terms of your question about curriculum, so we have numerous HR courses that are specifically targeting various areas of HR. So we offer courses in employee compensation, employee staffing, labor relations that our students take, and they start taking the HR courses from the get-go in semester one, right alongside with the core MBA courses, the finance, accounting, and marketing. We also have our students take classes in negotiations, and as a new addition in terms of our requirements, a class in HR analytics. One of our goals with our curriculum is to make sure that we are timely, and analytics has become such a more important part of both HR and business more broadly that we decided it needed to be in our curriculum as well. So we now have a requirement for HR analytics that all our students take. That's a good thing. Our curriculum is aligned with the Society for Human Resource Management, which is an independent organization that stipulates standards for educational programs in HR. So via that alignment, that signals that we are providing what industry thinks are the important aspects of skill sets to our students. So that formal alignment is an important credential for us. And then finally, I should also mention that obviously the education that students receive here is not just about coursework. And so we offer a lot of applied experiences. You already hit on that to some degree in your mentioning some of your highlights. So we have students serve as consultants to companies and encountering real HR problems where they learn to offer up solutions outside of the classroom, but still connected to the coursework. And through these applied experiences and the courses, our goal is to couple both the breadth of the overall MBA, which is terrific, with a more deep dive, immersive experience in HR itself. So Morgan, I'd like to hear your perspective on the question you asked me. How do you feel like the curriculum in strategic HR prepared you for your career?
Yeah. I mean, it's not just any one thing. It's not just the curriculum, like you said. It's really a combination of, the curriculum, the extracurriculars, the networking, the internship experience, to name a few. But if I think about the curriculum itself, Charlie, I think you stole my answer. I was going to say, there's two words. It's both breadth and depth, which I think makes the Wisconsin MBA stand out, in my opinion, from other MBA programs. I got the breadth of coursework around, finance, accounting, strategy, ethics, etc., analytics, mixed with the depth of the curriculum in the HR space and the applied learning that was really, really impactful for me. And for somebody who was making a career transition, both that breadth and that depth were critical. And I would not have chosen an MBA program that didn't have that specialized coursework in addition to the foundational elements of the MBA curriculum. So as we both just said, right, Charlie, there's much more to the program than just the curriculum. So can you highlight some of the out of classroom activities that students would participate in their 2 years at Wisconsin?
Yeah, I don't think we can highlight that enough, Morgan. It's just so important to the overall experience. So I think one thing that helps to set us apart is people like you, our alumni base. We have a very strong, involved, and energized alumni, and we get our students in touch with them from day one at orientation. We have alumni come in, and we just build on that throughout the students' time here in Wisconsin. One of the key aspects of that is that we now have an alumni mentoring program. So every first-year student has a mentor with whom they spend time with during their first year and sometimes beyond. And so we think that that's a really good touch point in terms of keeping them informed about what's going on outside the hallowed halls of Granger. And we also now offer what we call our Friday afternoon workshops, which are kind of close to my heart because it just came up organically from students who decided that they'd like to hear a little bit more about a certain content area. And we thought, what a great way to marry their desire to learn with our desire to get them ever more in contact with our alumni. So we have alumni come in and give Friday workshops on areas the students decide they'd like to know more about. So we've had them recently in diversity, equity, inclusion. We've had them in workplace investigations, executive compensation. So the students come to us and say, hey, we'd like to know a little bit more about this. And okay, we know somebody who can come in and talk about that. So it's another way to increase our alumni contact and give the students more of what they tell us that they really want to hear. We also have an executive in residence. So we target one alum every year to have an even closer contact with our students. And this person, from both a mentoring and networking perspective, is very integrally involved with the school year. So this year, Ben Burney is an executive in residence. He's an executive compensation consultant in Chicago. We also have industry visits to get the students out of the classroom and out into onto the shop floor or into the corporate headquarters or wherever it may be to learn about HR. As you mentioned, there's an international trip. So all our students have the opportunity to take that between the fall and spring semesters. And as well, the program provides regular career assistance and leadership trainings. But probably the one thing that can't be emphasized enough is what you brought up and focused on is the HR internship. So a full-time summer work experience between the first and second years that often serves as a not only a leg up in the full-time placement, but often as a entryway. So very often students will end up working full-time for the company that they intern for. And we've had really excellent placement rates in terms of putting students into internships as well as into full-time jobs.
Maybe building off of that a little bit, what are some types of positions that students typically secure after graduation?
Sure, there's a variety of them. I believe you went into a rotational program at GE Healthcare. So we have students who end up with roles as HR, and just to give you an idea with some job titles, HR business partners, HR leadership development programs, HR functional managers, which would be more of a deeper dive into a particular functional area, such as compensation analyst. We have students employed in compensation directly, or talent acquisition areas right out of school. On the other end of the continuum, there are students that get jobs as HR generalists, where often they might be at a smaller facility or plant or company where they do the entire gamut of HR and take it from more of a generalist perspective. And I'd also like to emphasize that these are jobs in HR, but that doesn't tell the whole story. We've been fortunate enough to put people into jobs in HR at great companies. I mean, you're at GE Healthcare. We have students recently who've gone to Microsoft and Cisco and J&J and HP, and the list goes on and on. So we've really been successful in our placement. And so we're very happy that we're bringing in talent in terms of students and being able to ultimately place them at wonderful places where they can really make an impact. We started today talking about curriculum, which is appropriate, but then we moved on. It's so much more than that, and talking about applied experiences and alumni contacts and internships. And ultimately, it's all about placement. So we want to bring in talent and put it into great places, and we've been pretty successful in doing that. So so placement is everybody's goal, and that's what all of this is for. Trying to institute both. We try to give our students both great content and also great signals to exploit on the job market so they can go to terrific places, as you've done. So with that, Morgan, thanks so much for visiting with me today. I've really enjoyed it, talking about our Wisconsin Strategic HR MBA. And for those listening out there, thank you for your time. And if you'd like to learn more about us, please send us an email to the admissions office at mba@wsb.wisc.edu. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, Charlie.